you. Welcome to the Radio Horror YouTube channel tonight as we are discussing the new film, The Bride, a updated version of The Bride of Frankenstein, a film we've had been threatened with for many years now, then wanting to do The Bride of Frankenstein again, going back to the Dark Universe, which was a disaster for the studio that made that. The Bride is now out, not to be confused with another film called The Bride, which starred Jennifer Beals and Sting way back in the 80s. This new film is a new kind of look at it, starring Jesse Buckley, someone I'm not overly familiar with, but Christian Bale playing the monster of Frankenstein. We've had some Bride stuff. If you are a fan of James Gunn's DC universe, the Bride of Frankenstein is one of the members of the Creature Commandos, the cartoon series on HBO Max, led by Rick Flag Sr., as Amanda Waller's not allowed to use super criminals anymore because of what happened over on Peacemaker. She decided to use monsters that no one has ever heard of, and one of them is the Bride of Frankenstein, and the Frankenstein monster is on that as well. But the main character of that is definitely the Bride of Frankenstein. That is not a cartoon to watch with your kids. Let me tell you something. That is an adult cartoon James Gunn kicked off his DC universe with, and it is awesome. Season 2 is coming out soon, and the Bride will be in that as well. I'm sure trying to cozy up to Captain Adam, who's going to be the new leader of Creature Commandos. But I digress. We're going to talk about the Bride with Katie, the blonde in front of here, who looks like the Bride herself.
Yes, I made sure to do my little bride impression for this review. The Bride 2026, written and directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, starring
Oh
Jesse
yeah.
Buckley as Ida, Penelope and the Bride, Christian Bale as Frank, Annette Bening as Dr. Euphronius, Penelope Cruz as Myrna Malloy, Peter Sarsgaard as Jake Wiles, and Jake Gyllenhaal as Ronnie Reed. The film begins with Mary Shelley talking about her death and her life and how she never got to be who she wanted to be and always the mother and the wife, but never the true woman that she was able to become. So she decides to possess a woman named Ida, who happens to be have some interesting information regarding a mob boss in Chicago. While she is possessed, she starts saying some of the secrets. The mob boss is mad. She is then murdered. We have the subplot of Frank, who is Christian Bale. He is the creature that Dr. Frankenstein has made. He has been alone and lonely for 100 years, and he would like a companion, whether that be sexual, whether that just be friendship. He just wants somebody to spend his life with, because this has been horrible not being able to die or living the way that he has. He finds Dr. Euphronius, played by Annette Bening. They dig up Ida, they bring her to life. And then Frank and Ida go on some wacky adventures in Chicago and then New York and then Indiana and all across the country. It's a very uh Bride, Bonnie, Franken Clyde road trip uh extravaganza, which is also very female empowering film. There's some musical aspects to it. There's Jake Gyllenhaal doing some song and dance, who is this inspiration for Frank, because when he was at a very hard time, he saw this actor in a film and then outside the film, and it really, he's just been obsessed with him and follows his film work all over the place. Ida herself isn't necessarily sure what's going on, because when she awakens, she has amnesia and is not sure why she died, what happened. And there are many things that we see happen to her as the bride that have happened to many women. And I think that is really something that Maggie Gyllenhaal is putting really putting to the forefront of this film. It's definitely a Me Too movement film, which if anyone's trying to say that that's woke and it's over, it's never over. It's never over. Things that happen to women, including sexual assault and horrible violence is never over and should never be overlooked. And that's one of the things that I think this film really puts a spotlight on. There's a scene in the film that I actually to myself thought, maybe this is a little too much, but at the same time, it's not, because this happens to women every single day. And people need to stand up and take accountability and never let these actions fall to the wayside. There's a lot of death. There's some gore, which I've heard actually was supposed to be even gorier, but because Warner Brothers took a hold of it, they really did a lot to this film that I think Maggie Gyllenhaal didn't necessarily sign off on. Um,
Mm.
with that being said, there's some things in the script that are sort of head scratcher moments. I would like to see a director's cut of this film. I do not think that's going to happen because I believe, from what I've been told, it was actually supposed to be a musical. But Jessie Buckley is absolutely incredible. She's playing basically three characters, sometimes at once, in scenes. Christian Bale is outstanding. Jake Gyllenhaal again has that song and dance. I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of Penelope Cruz in this film, but I did love her character, and I love that the characters that are played by women are the ones who are in charge, who have the knowledge, and who have, you know, are making the story move forward. And I think that definitely is something that Maggie Gyllenhaal succeeded and did an amazing job at doing. I think there's a number of people who maybe do not understand or get the film. I get that it's a little convoluted at times, but technically, cinematography, acting, costume, production design. I mean, it is excellent. Um, there's some scenes that maybe don't need the humor, but I think because of this film that it is so serious and it's such drama that you need to have that levity to give it a little bit of an ease, which I think they tried to do, maybe not too well, but they did. But this is a film that I think is, again, I think this is going to be a cult classic. I think this is a film that go and see it, make your own choice, but go and see this film. I think it is very important to see in the theater.
Awesome. I thought this was one of the more interesting takes on the Frankenstein monster. We had just had Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Now we have the Bride. Now we don't need to do anything else with the Frankenstein monster because this is the only two characters you really have out of it. But we have younger Frankenstein coming out soon from Mel Brooks. But we'll have to wait and see how that does. I'm there you go. There is the Boris Karloff Frankenstein monster. We will have more Bride of Frankenstein, as I mentioned, as Creature Commandos comes around. I thought this had a rather unique, fantastic look to it, and I really hoping this catches on to an audience this year, especially with all the things that Katie has mentioned. Of course, Christian Bale knocks it out of the park as the Frankenstein monster. He definitely deserves a lot of credit for this. He's been I hadn't seen him in anything for a minute, so unless there was something that came out that I might have missed, but it's good to see him in a rather unique and different role, stretching his acting chops. Um, check out the rest of the videos here on the Radio Heart YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, and comment this one. Check out Katie over on her social media, and go to the theater and support The Bride.